I'm very privileged to be invited for such a conference which talks about environment and climate change. And what Chandrabhushan has been saying, it is very true. And we have been doing intuitively, planning for various towns and cities. And it is possible to even do things correctly, like what he talked about Singapore. They have done this over the last 10 years. I was earlier part of some project, ETH, Zurich and NUS University together, setting up a center for urban studies, and through which they have come up with the modification and the building bylaws and a whole lot of doing city planning, etc., with which now they have transform the city for better. So it is possible to do retrofit any city at any situation. So that's a kind of a positive way to look at it. So what I am going to present is that some of the projects that I have worked over the years, I am using them as a case study. I am not saying they are the best case studies, but this is what is being done in India today. And these are, by that way, these are remarkable work comparison with the other projects, and then we figure it out from where, how to move ahead. So I have used some case studies of various cities across India, and from large scale to small projects, and maybe we can learn something out of it. The first slide that we are showing is about the way we do urban planning in India. And our cities, unlike the cities of Europe and the rest of the world, we are very much concentrated at the core of the city. And we are not able to provide infrastructure for a peripheral area, and to make the core of the city more and more dense, and so that it almost becomes like a slum and not fit for living. And that is the issue that we have to expand our boundary. We have to provide good infrastructure on the periphery. Due to lack of that, all cities, Calcutta, Bangalore, Hyderabad, where the other cities of the world had expanded and they reduced the pressure on the core city, because the certain amount of density and the build form the land can hold. Beyond that, it becomes a problem. And that's the kind of thing that we are following, because in earlier time our budget was less. Government of India has, urban planning is not part of the mandate of the Government of India. Now they are coming out with urban renewal mission, etc. But it is the state subject, or to be done by the municipality. Center has no role to play, and they don't allocate any funding for that. So because of which, with municipal taxes, you cannot really provide infrastructure for a larger area. And the cities which contribute almost 75% of the GDP, but when we are not pumping in enough resources to build the infrastructure for the city at a central level. And that is like, it is like an earning member of a family. Cities are the earning member of the family, and generally fellow who earn for the family, उसको एक रोटी ज़्यादा मिलता है, so that he doesn't fall ill. But we are actually starving the city of resources, and we are creating a very kind of a messy situation, and that needs to be corrected. That needs to be corrected. It may need some kind of even amendment in the constitution. So what we see here is that most of the cities in the world, because our planning model that we follow in India, we borrowed it from the British. New Delhi is the model that they talk about. Low density, everybody live in 1 acre plot, streets and gardens, etc. Where the rest of the India is very dense and they don't have infrastructure. And our whole planning model, when I teach urban planning, we talk about low density, beautiful garden cities and things like that. But in reality, people live in a very compact situation without good quality infrastructure. That means the model of low density, high quality infrastructure is very difficult to achieve. We don't have that kind of resources. And India is one of the densest country of the world. India and China put together half of the world. That's what it is. So our model should be a compact city, more dense but with proper open spaces, facilities and infrastructure, water supply, sewerage, road, etc. So we have to do more compact, low-rise, high-density kind of format, but good quality infrastructure. And the kind of model that we are following is totally reverse, because that we have inherited and that's what continues. And that's why the whole, what you do planning and what really happens, it has no match. And that's a city like Mumbai, more than 50% of the people live in slums. And we created this because we wanted to make Mumbai into Paris, want to become independent. Okay, we do boulevard and we do Flora Fountain and put all the poor guys out of the city, which is the border of the city. Now this is Dharavi, which is in the middle of the city and one of the biggest slum of the world. We created it because we want to make our city beautiful and become like Paris. Okay, these are kind of paradoxes that we are working. Now this is from Ahmedabad. This is true for many cities. Many a time our municipal boundaries are not correct, and the thing develop just outside the border. And by the time we realize that we made a mistake, we bring it inside the city. 20 years went by, and the whole area has got developed without any infrastructure. Now in Ahmedabad, we've added this to the city, but we do not know what to do with it. We have beautiful building, but one 9-meter road serving this area, and we're going to live with the problem permanently. And this is true for many cities. Ahmedabad is the case, but it is happening all over the place. This is from what Chandra Bhushan talking about Shimla. So I had a chance to work for the city of Shimla. We did some kind of a mapping, and we found that many of the buildings are just hanging on the slope, little bit of shake and it will fall off. And they have all got permission from the government. It is not illegal building. Somebody has given a permission to build. Okay. And they have the papers. But this is actually where you should not have been doing anything. That whole lot of things, this is from the northeast, Guwahati, my hometown, same problem, hill slope cutting, flooding, etc. What is in Bhubaneswar, Guwahati may be worse, okay, in terms of climate change, and we don't even respect the nature. Things like, small pearl water bodies, these have got all filled up, and with little bit of rain, whole city goes underwater. The other issue, the things are of the issues of Indian cities, that we have many villages in the city. We take away the land of the village for the urban development and we leave the core of the village to die. We leave it as we call it Lal Dora. Okay, and it is out of the bound for planners and we can do anything inside. And outside land we take it away and they live in this kind of a pathetic situation. And this is true for hundreds of villages which become part of the city. We see this slum-like situation. The other issues of all this, informal activities on the streets and the footpath, because you find that our economy is urban, but half of the urban economy is happening on the footpath. And this is the informal sector. We have no space for them in urban planning. Because you don't provide for space, they come on the street and we use their facilities, and this is all over the place. This is from Guwahati. There's the whole issues of land management. I think Bhubaneswar is also now beginning to do town planning scheme from Gujarat model. I know some of my friends who are working. So basically what you find that in urban planning in India, one is the issue of land, that we need the land for road, open space and amenities. And if you only go for land acquisition, now people are not giving land. We cannot now build Chandigarh and New Delhi and New Bombay anymore. You acquire hundreds of square kilometers, we can't do it now. So, in absence of that, We have now little space between the building. You go to that area, there's a traffic jam. Then on the plot you have higher FSI, etc. You will find that all of these areas are deficient in road, open space and amenities. Absolutely, all over India. I haven't seen any place which is beyond which the land is acquired, we have no proper infrastructure. And if infrastructure is not there, space is not there, I cannot put in the pipeline, I cannot build the roads. So I live in this kind of situation, cities after cities. And we have to find out a way to solve this problem, that we need land for the public purpose. And that land is not available, and the mechanism is not available properly, and it is creating problem all over the place. You can see, all this is saying that all of them are missing. This is, I am showing you a plan for the city of Hyderabad that I did about 15 years ago. The plan is in force right now. It's about 8,000 square kilometer area for a city of 1.8 crore people. But what we did was that we did this whole environmental land suitability. The lot of the area that is marked as green, we have said that this area cannot be developed because these are ecologically sensitive, fertile land, water catchment area. Only the brown areas can be built. I had a huge problem with some of the politicians because some of the one member of parliament was in that green area. He went and complained to YSR. I was called. Then I had to explain. And luckily the chief minister was in my favor. He said, you change your constituency, but the plan will not be changed. So we managed that. Generally we want to expand the city. We never analyze the land. We just build whatever. We have to protect the ecologically sensitive area and build the remaining land. That is more than enough. And this is, we are not doing for cities after cities. This is done with what Chandrababu said. This is some amount of modeling. I am not saying everything, but at least we are able to protect some of the sensitive areas. This is a kind of a large city. We also need to now look at cities not as a municipality, but you have to look at a hinterland as a metropolitan area, and you have to integrate rural and urban. So there is nothing like a rural and nothing like an urban. Rural and urban have to integrate together so that people don't have to migrate from the village to the city for work. They can come by motorcycle, go back, and we also provide them with a rural infrastructure for them to live there. So we have to talk about a larger area where the green and the build-up area is built together. We have amended the constitution. Every city now, large cities should have a metropolitan region, but I don't think everybody has done that. Even Gujarat has not done it. A whole lot of things, but I'm not so much talking. The other issue is that what I built for the city of Hyderabad, we created a zone, what you call it, the urban agriculture. That means generally what happens when we build a city, the city and next part is agricultural land. That is what everybody encroach. So we created a buffer about a kilometer, which is for urban agriculture, where we can allow people to build, maybe building with 1 or 2 floors. And it has worked so beautifully. Hyderabad is now called as the tree city of India, because people have done so much of plantation and agriculture, farming, etc. And it is changing. So maybe this is a model that we can adopt for the other cities. I also had a chance to work for the high-tech city, Hyderabad. And in India, you find that you don't get a clean slate of land. What it shows on the left-hand side is the city, the part is land is already built, and then Chandrababu and Naidu decide to make a cyber city. So we have to make like a plan out of this. It is like a stitching torn clothes and make a pattern out of it. But it has been finally, it is successful. Because now Indian urban planning, we have to work with a brownfield situation, and we have to make some sense within that situation. We cannot get clean slate of land and do whatever you want. There are some pictures. This is for this is from Shimla that is just completed last year, and the whole National Green Tribunal had put a freeze on any development in Shimla because it said that it had crossed the carrying capacity. Yeah. So then we went, but freezing was done only for the municipal area. The actual boundary was much larger. And we did all these studies. I showed you the picture, the building that are hanging, etc., etc. So finally, we worked on the plan. We said, okay, let's create an alternative to the city downhill where the local population can stay and leave the core city for the tourists because it has already crossed the population. And finally, the plan has been approved. These are the density level, etc. calculations. So here now with the GIS technology, we can analyze the land in terms of slope, ground cover, everything is possible now. Earlier it was not there. We used to do only on the blueprint. So you can see, so finally we propose these are the clusters of new development, and so that it reduce the pressure in the core area. The plan has been now approved, and hopefully, and we also talk about the whole issue of transport in the hill areas where it is not possible to move at all. We cannot build any road, too many cars. So now about 55 kilometers of ropeway is under construction because it can take care of the tourists and the local population. This can be done for many hill towns in India, including Darjeeling, Shillong. हर जगह में ये भी हो सकता है. So I'll just talk about one project and then I'll stop. I have many more things. I want to say this is from the city of Jaipur, and I want to say that we have a lot to learn from our historic cities and reinterpret. What we are doing is that we are cancelling the old city, saying that this is all junk, it is highly dense. We build a new city with skyscraper and glass, and which is not really appropriate. We can learn from our city. Jaipur is a part of the golden triangle of Indian tourism. Unfortunately, there is no plan for the triangle. But it is an example with a 45-degree temperature, low-rise, high-density building with courtyard. It worked absolutely fine. And we had a chance to plan for an area which is learning from the Jaipur and plan a newer area which can use the learning from the historic city, planning a newer city. And I also had a chance to work on the, urban renewal for the Jaipur city as a part of urban renewal mission. There some of the streets and the public spaces are worked out. And this is Jaipur, and coming back to using tourism as an element, we can refurnish the whole city. I'll come back to the example. This is Jaipur has been taken care of. Now it is part of the UNESCO World Heritage City. And finally coming back to the new city that we planned in the name of the architect of the Jaipur old city called Vidyadhar Bhattacharya. We made a plan for a city about 600 hectares of land for the Jaipur Development Authority. And this is all, this is coming here. So here what we are saying is that we want to learn from the historic city and make the new city, picking up the good lesson from the old city and not discard it totally. And that is our attempt, and it is built. Finally, what we did was that we did a bazaar, which is a pedestrian street. Jaipur has a vehicular street, which is the pedestrian bazaar. We do a network of open spaces channeling the wastewater, and a building with low-rise, high-density apartment block on the building edge, street edge, to really give a character like Jaipur Old City. Bungalows are inside, and now this is built like this. And finally, this is our interpretation for the Jaipur Old City to the today's context, with better transport facilities, better open spaces and amenities the city doesn't have. And finally, this is our entry to the Festival of India, and I am saying only three principles. A pedestrian bazaar, a bus route, where you can get a bus within 3 to 5 minutes walking distance from home, and a network of green space connecting all the amenities where you can bicycle and walk. I said these are the three principles that you can adopt for any city in India.
Okay.
And it will work. And it can manifest in a different way. In Bhubaneswar you do it differently, in Jaipur you do it differently, but these are certain things that you can adopt and you can learn from it.
So there
Thank
should
you
be
very
an
much.
opportunity
I have
to
more projects, but just to say
adopt.
that
I
it-
surely, sir, I
it talks
apologize
about
for
the
the interruption, but I request if you can share all these PPTs, we can upload this in our site
Yes.
so that people can get some information through this and we can adopt some of the ideas of yours. Thank you so much for the presentation, sir.